In 1324, one man went on a trip. He wasn't a conqueror. He wasn't at war. He was going on a pilgrimage, a religious journey to Mecca. But by the time he arrived, he had personally destroyed the economies of Egypt, Arabia, and parts of Europe. Not with an army, not with a weapon, with generosity. His name was Mansa Musa. He was the ruler of the Mali Empire in West Africa, and historians believe he was, by a significant margin, the single wealthiest human being who has ever lived. Wealthier than Elon Musk, wealthier than Jeff Bezos, wealthier than any modern billionaire you can name. His net worth, adjusted to today's dollars, is estimated at $400 billion. And on this one trip, this one journey, he accidentally caused an economic crisis that lasted over a decade. This is that story. Stay until the end, because the twist to this story is something most history books completely leave out, and it changes everything about how you understand wealth, inflation, and economic power. To understand Mansa Musa, you first need to understand the world he ruled. The Mali Empire in the 1300s was enormous. It stretched across what is today Mali, Senegal, Gambia, Guinea, and parts of Mauritania, roughly the size of Western Europe. And sitting underneath this empire were two things the medieval world could not get enough of: gold and salt. At the height of Mali's power, historians estimate the empire produced close to half of the world's entire gold supply. Half of all the gold on Earth. Think about what that means. In the 1300s, gold wasn't just jewelry. Gold was money. If you controlled half the world's gold, you controlled half the world's money supply. That's not wealth. That's something beyond wealth. That's economic power that no modern billionaire comes close to. Mansa Musa came to power in 1312. He wasn't just another king who sat on a throne collecting taxes. He was a builder. He hired architects from across Africa and the Middle East. He funded universities. He turned the city of Timbuktu, a name Western historians would later dismiss as a myth, into one of the greatest centers of learning in the world. He was also deeply religious. And as a Muslim ruler, he felt a duty to make the Hajj, the pilgrimage to Mecca that Islam requires of every believer at least once in their life. So in 1324, he prepared to leave. Mansa Musa did not travel light. His caravan was 60,000 people. Let that sink in. 60,000. The population of a small city, moving through the Sahara Desert. Among them, soldiers, officials, attendants, and 12,000 servants dressed in Persian silk, each carrying a staff of solid gold. Ahead of him walked 500 personal attendants, each carrying a golden staff weighing about 6 pounds. And the camels, 100 camels, each carrying 300 pounds of pure gold dust. That's 30,000 pounds of gold. On camels, just for spending money. The caravan's first major stop was Cairo, then one of the wealthiest and most important cities in the world, the center of Mediterranean trade. Musa arrived and was welcomed by the Sultan of Egypt. And here, Musa did what Musa did everywhere. He gave, generously, massively, without thinking about the consequences. He handed out gold to beggars on the street. He paid extravagant prices for souvenirs, deliberately overpaying to show generosity. His servants distributed gold to everyone they passed. The people of Cairo had never seen anything like it. For a brief moment, gold was everywhere, and that was exactly the problem. Here's what you need to understand about economics. The value of any currency depends on scarcity. Gold was valuable in 1324 because there wasn't much of it. Merchants saved it, governments hoarded it, wars were fought over it. Then Mansa Musa arrived and flooded the market. In a matter of weeks, there was so much gold in Cairo that its value collapsed. Prices for goods that merchants normally sold for a small piece of gold now required mountains of it. The purchasing power of gold, the currency of the entire region, crashed by an estimated 25%. And it stayed crashed for 12 years. One man's generosity caused a decade-long recession across Egypt, Arabia, and the gold markets of Europe, with a single trip. Section 6. The Twist, 5:30 to 7:30. Slow, dramatic music shift. Pause before this section. Now here's where the story gets genuinely extraordinary. And this is the part most people never hear. On his way home from Mecca, Musa passed through Cairo again. And by this time, word had reached him about the economic damage he'd caused. So he did something remarkable. He borrowed gold back. He went to the moneylenders of Cairo, the same merchants whose wealth he'd destroyed, and borrowed as much gold as possible at very high interest rates, deliberately taking gold back out of circulation to reduce the supply and restore its value. It worked. Gold recovered. Prices stabilized. Cairo's economy began to breathe again. Then Musa got home to Mali, and he paid back every debt in one enormous single payment, all at once, 30,000 pounds of gold back into the market in one transaction. The gold value crashed again. Immediately. Mansa Musa had, in the space of one journey, crashed the gold economy, repaired it, and then crashed it again, without ever trying to. Now you might be thinking, what does a 700-year-old king have to do with anything today? Everything. What Mansa Musa accidentally did in 1324 is exactly what governments do deliberately every decade. When the US Federal Reserve prints trillions of dollars, as they did during COVID, they are doing the exact same thing Musa did in Cairo, flooding a market with currency, reducing its value, causing inflation. The only difference is that Musa did it with physical gold and zero intention. Modern governments do it with digital numbers and full awareness of the consequences. The lesson economists still teach from Mansa Musa's pilgrimage is this: the supply of money matters as much as its value. Control the supply, and you control the economy. Lose control of the supply, even through generosity, and economies collapse. One more thing. After his pilgrimage, Mansa Musa became famous across the Muslim world. Arab scholars wrote about him. His journey was documented across Arabia, Egypt, and the Middle East. In 1375, 50 years after his death, European cartographers put him on the Catalan Atlas, a map of the known world, sitting on his throne in West Africa, holding a golden orb, visible to any European who looked at a map. And yet, for the next 600 years, Western history books barely mentioned him. The richest person in human history, a man whose single trip reshaped the global economy. Written out of the story, Mansa Musa died around 1337. His empire began to fracture after his death. Within 200 years, the Mali Empire was gone, consumed by conflict and the same trade routes that had made it powerful. But for one extraordinary moment, one man sitting in West Africa held more economic power than any government, any bank, or any nation on earth. He didn't conquer, he didn't steal, he built, he gave, and he ruled. And the world forgot him anyway. I want to ask you something before you go, and I genuinely want to know your answer in the comments. If Mansa Musa's empire had never collapsed, if Mali had stayed intact and controlled that gold supply into the modern era, do you think the economic history of Africa would look different today? Think about that. Drop your answer below. Next week, we're covering a financial scandal that is still happening right now, hidden in plain sight, affecting 180 million people, and almost nobody in the Western world knows about it. I'll see you then.